Here's Sandra Morgan talk about some of the lessons she learned from her grandfather, inventor Garrett Morgan.
So many of you know that my grandfather is Garrett Morgan. Garrett Morgan was an inventor. He invented the Garrett Morgan safety hood, precursor to the modern day gas mask, the tri-position traffic signal, which, as we know, is the red, yellow, and green traffic light. He had a patent for a certain type of hot comb. He had a full product line of hair care items, and he did any number of other things during the course of his life. He was a prolific man, very smart, really civically involved. Started the Cleveland Call, which merged with the Call and Post. Ran for office in the 1930s. He was a Renaissance man, and well known here in Northeast Ohio. Um, I was happy to be able to just say grandfather. But you may want to know some of the insider scoop about my grandfather. So, he knew me better than I knew him because he died when I was about 2 years old, a little over two. However, my father was Garrett Morgan Jr., and it was through my father that I learned so much about my grandfather's legacy. We spent lots and lots of time talking about my grandfather because my father was the standard bearer for my grandfather. He's the one that made the speeches, that shared literature and pictures, that traveled around the country in order to represent my grandfather and my grandfather's interests. Believe it or not, the Garrett Morgan black hair oil stain product, as well as the Garrett Morgan hair refinery, stayed in business until 1976, and my father ran that business. And so I had firsthand knowledge of the hair care industry that my grandfather was a part of, and I myself stuck the labels on the bottles of all of the products, in our basement. And elsewhere when my dad was packaging up the product. So that was a lot of fun for me. In the meantime, however, some of the things that I did learn about my grandfather, his perseverance, his stick-to-itiveness, his intelligence, and the way that he approached things with curiosity and listening, great listening skills, and a lot of empathy too for people. He never thought of himself as an inventor, but always as a problem solver. He saw problems and he wanted to fix them. And that is the spirit that I got from my grandfather. Anyway, I see problems, and it's kind of my job and my duty to work towards fixing them, to make things better.